Welcome to another Hall of Fame interview with Pawan. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And congratulations, Pawan, on finishing the blockchain certification with IIT Madras, CCE, and Pixeltests. Thank you so much. So I want to just give a brief background about his profile. He's presently at Netscope Technologies. Probably he shifted previously at Navi, Nutanix. Nutanix, arguably, one of the high-flying companies back in the day. I don't know if it still was. And he also has experience with Akamai, IBM, over a decade, years of experience. And he's now moved into the blockchain world. So once again, thank you so much, Pawan, and appreciate your time. Cool. So let's get started. So the first question I had was, when you, and I think you were one of the earliest people who had joined, Professor Pandurangan and the course, what was your mindset before coming into the course in terms of were you already looking at other technologies? You have such a heavy, strong technical background experience. Why the shift to blockchain? What was your mindset like?
Sure. So basically, probably back in 2019, I wrote a white paper on blockchain. I wanted to just explore what is happening in blockchain. That's when I got introduced to the field of blockchain. And then I realized, okay, I've been in the tech industry for so long. I've seen some of the rare events in tech industry, like acquisition, IPO, 100 years of IBM, 100 years of ISC, a couple of these rare events. And then I've realized after being in the industry for 12 years, I met a couple of great people. And one thing common in them was boarding a ship early. Very honestly, some of them, honestly speaking, who joined Nutanix in 2013, today are millionaires. Right. I mean, the common thing is that boarding a ship early, right? That's when I thought 2019 was the right time for me to evaluate blockchain. And one of the quickest way to understand technology is do something. It could be developing an application or writing some white paper or collaborating with some industry veterans or the research people. Something we should do to get ourselves quick into the field, right? And then I wanted some formal training or formal exposure to the blockchain. That's when I was got an opportunity to look at a Pixeltest pitch, some pitch where you spoke about it, when some of the IIT professors come there and speak about the fundamentals of blockchain. Now I thought I really want to take up this and get into this, understand more, and see where it takes. But before joining, I was very clear. I want to transition into a blockchain architect. It may mean a difficult path, or it may mean maybe the Pixeltest course could not be the only step towards it. But then I figured out this could be the initial step, right? And then we'll figure out what it takes to be there. But then, of course, the crypto winter happened, the funding winter happened. Okay, a lot of things changed afterwards. But then that was the intent when I evaluated Pixeltest course, basically.
Excellent. So one of the things that's very fascinating in your journey is you've written a white paper or a paper in 2019. That's probably, I got into crypto first off in investing, etc., and then the interest developed 2018. So that is early days. And I find your early startup experience really fascinating. Coming from like IBM, and you've also done your master's at a premium university. So you've seen like pedigree, scale, etc. I was curious about, in terms of, coming in terms of tech, and you were very clear about your goal, you wanted to be an architecture, etc. I wanted you to spotlight a little bit about that journey of seeing the big people, right? You probably have, had access to at IBM or Akamai or all the big leaders of a big company, but also at the smaller companies. It seems like you've then transitioned to like mid-sized startups to smaller startups. And Nutanix, obviously, the acquisition went public, etc. What are the different skill sets you've seen in the big companies, big people versus mid-sized to small companies, bigger people? Some commonalities in terms of being prescient, farsighted. What are the differences you're seeing?
One of the biggest difference to me when I've been through the early stage startup, especially one is the ownership. So you get a lot of ownership working with early stage startups, and you see a founder sitting next to you and coding, and you're like, dude, I was in a IBM where I mean, I hardly remember meeting my director, right? That was a level of abstraction in the big companies, but in startups, founder is also talking to customer, working with you on coding, then QA, and then all the possible things you get and you get to do in startup. Ownership is one different thing, and then there is a chaos. There is nothing definite. We don't know when we get next funding, or we don't know when we get next customer, and there will be a chaos, right? So, and it is that ability and adaptability to move towards the chaos and uncertainty is what makes startup really different. And and definitely, and then like I said, that the ability to do everything literally. Being a tech engineer, you could be a sales, you could do a sales job, or if you want, you could be a DevOps engineer, and all of that. Nobody constrains you that, hey, Pawan, you do only this. I mean, in otherwise in the corporate world that happens, right? So you are not allowed to do something which you are designated to do. That's one of the biggest change to me when I've been through the startup. And once I've been through startup, and I realized I am cut out for startup. Now I've realized very early that that's when in fact, after Nutanix, I again went to startup, which is Navi. I just joined 1 month before their product launch, and I was the first SDET of the company. So I mean, these are the couple of things I've.
Do you have Sachin Bansal's number directly?
Okay, yeah, I've had a couple of meetings with him as well. In fact, we had a discussion when I left. He was asking why I'm leaving, all of that. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's another thing, right? I mean, working with the man who built a $1 billion empire. I call it as an empire, a Flipkart empire to Walmart empire. And if somebody of that stature is investing his own 700 million money to something called Navi, well, that was an easy decision for me to make, and just joining, right? I mean, honestly speaking, that was my decision to join, but still work in that startup environment, right? So generally what happens in early stage startups, you are dearth of funding. You have to figure out when you should go for funding, and all of that. But this was amazing, very different startup Navi to me. Like that, again, I figured out where I want to move across, what I want to do, the agility, and every time to understand market pulse, what market needs, where I am at. For example, today Golang is a big thing, right? I mean, if I'm still coding in C++, I mean, there is no point in where I go to in the next 5 years, right? So ability to learn new things and all of that is going to be the good experience in startup.
Awesome, brilliant. And I wanted to just circulate back to one more question on this before we go to the course and our community questions. I want to talk about some of the opportunities you're seeing. Seems like you've done testing, you've seen big systems, small systems, mid-sized systems, systems that have probably failed, and systems that have worked, and eventually through acquisitions. And you have so much of gamut of or array of skills. What are some of the blockchain opportunities? I know that the blockchain market is, there's a winter now, but we are here for the long haul. One of the things many friends of mine do not understand is, Jay, it's crypto is dead and all. I'm like, no, it's been there for 12 years. 12 times people have said it is dead, and cycles are good, cycles are required. In fact, the not so serious people, casualties. So it will definitely peak in 2 years or 3 years or maybe even 1 year. What are the opportunities you're seeing in the blockchain that might become big? Other, like if you're following the ZK rollups, or if you're following layer 1s or layer 1.5s, what are the opportunities you're seeing? And where is the excitement going to be built?
Definitely, right? So I'll put it as a Web3. Blockchain is okay, underneath technology, which even came to known to the people after Bitcoin. People didn't know blockchain. People knew Bitcoin, right? Because then people figured out, okay, there's something behind this Bitcoin which is not traditional. Traditional is centralization. And this is called decentralization. Okay, people realize, okay, there is decentralization, there is the immutability. Oh, this is something new. Okay, then they called as blockchain, though there was a paper before that, right? So, so it all started with the Bitcoin. My way of approach towards is not crypto, because, right, to me, okay, crypto is one way of application of blockchain, right? But blockchain can be applied in various senses, towards solving the voting issues, education issues, and all of that. So in my way, in my opinion, I think blockchain, if played well, it requires still maturity and ability to adoption. So I don't think so it's there yet, but definitely a worth to be in, to stay in, absorb what is happening in the industry, all the layer 1, layer 2, all the things happening there, It's good to be there. For example, right, the polyglot. Who knew polyglot could be that big? Being just a new entrant. So it's possible, but then the perseverance and the consistency definitely will pay off. I'm really not just blockchain. I really look at all the industries. For example, I look at big data. What's happening in big data? I did a big data course and I understood what is happening in big data. I did a cybersecurity. I did what's happening in cybersecurity, right? And that's how I've evaluated what I want to do in the next 5 years. I'm probably in talks with some of the professors in UK to do my PhD as well. I mean, like this, things have evolved this way. I mean, one, according to me, should be open to the new opportunities, open to new things coming in the industry, and also continue to do some whatever they're doing in the industry. Right? If somebody says somebody's in mainframe, for example, mainframe, they're in 10 years, and they're reluctant to move away from mainframe or at least explore being in a mainframe, right? So that doesn't work. World will move fast, right? You will be left behind. So it's important to understand what's happening. Then choose some of it. It may fail. You may lose money. It's okay. It's okay. But at least you have that rewarding experience of understanding what's happening, right? And I'm sure some of it will work in one or other way. For sure. In one or other way, it is going to work.
Guys, whoever is watching this on whichever medium, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, some key very good points from a person who's seen big and small. In terms of the three things I've taken up is, the owner or the founder is coding. IBM, you hardly remember being the director. Look at all the sort of possible areas of upskilling. Blockchain is phenomenal. And continue that, even if you have like an MS or masters, continue like the higher journeys. Which could be a PhD or so on and so forth. Pawan's looking at something in UK. Now, coming back to Pixeltests and our community, do you remember some of the shifts that had come to you when you maybe did my success mindset or orientation, etc. Do you see any shifts in your mindset primarily that had come in, or listening to Stranger Secret or Earl Nightingale, early days of this course?
Okay, so I'm in before this as well, right? I've introduced to spirituality in 2018 when I did my Reiki 1, Reiki 2, and all of that. I didn't go to Reiki Master because my way of Reiki is to heal myself, not to teach, not to heal others. And then I happened to read a lot of books from Louise Hay, Bruce Lipton, all of that, right? So I've been in this space for a very, very long time, and I'm a firm believer of the trust, basically the faith. What defines humanity from animals or other beings is the faith, right? The consciousness, what we have. And I believe these three things, the belief system, the thoughts, and the environment, the people whom we are with, right? These things will definitely manifest our future events. This is what I strongly believe. And consciously, I have manifested a couple of this, right? Today, I'm engineering manager. I was the IC 2 years back. And when I did my workshop on the Love Yourself, Heal Your Life book, I've realized a couple of tools and tips to manifest new events in your life, right? Being it practicing gratitude every day, being it affirmations and all of that. So this is not new to me. And honestly, when I saw this in Pixeltests, it was actually not new to me. It was a reiteration of that. Okay, there are a few more people out there who are also doing a couple of these things. That kind of a testimony to me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that's brilliant. I mean, it was great that we sort of had maybe a spiritual or whatever, like some facet of that kind of a connection, that energy. I am also beginning to believe that after a lot of my experiences, I've realized like the three things, like I call them the three spheres. One is financial health, which could be through better courses, or through tech, could be AI, could be blockchain, so on and so forth. Some of the ones that you mentioned, or stock market, which is what also we've introduced. Second is, the mental health, which is law of attraction, or it could be art of living. I personally in that realm of things. And third is, physical health, which is yoga. We did introduce a yoga course, etc. The idea is, good people get 1 out of the 3 correct. Smart people get 2 out of the 3 correct, and the divine get all 3 correct. So it's very, very rare to see, because you can be making a lot of money, but you might not have a great relationship with your spouse or
exactly.
with your parents, and it's not what or your kids. You might be making great money and mentally fit, but maybe physically, you're not fit. That hits you hard. I've seen very few people try, attempt, and also be very open about all three. Very, very rarely. And some people who are like extremely spiritual, tend not to have the technical skills. Yeah, and so I wanted to, we've been lucky to design and build a community around the space, the three things that we are very passionate about, so that hopefully people make new mistakes, not my mistakes.
Exactly.
Perfect.
That's true. That's true.
Cool. So now coming to the actual course content, etc. So you've gone through Professor Pandurangan's right from the beginning lectures, etc. What are the things you liked about him as soon as you came in? What are some of the modules that from the beginning that you kind of remember and you liked?
Yeah, Professor Pandurangan and another professor from IIT Hyderabad, right? So listening from, so these are veterans and these are the best of best professors in the country, in India, right? So it's a privilege to literally be in their class. Ideally, if you want to be in their class, you have to crack gate and spend 2 years, right? But then to be have an opportunity to literally talk to them and understand the research side, the academic side of the technology is really different to me. And it is really a value adding to me, honestly speaking. Honestly speaking, what happened was in the course, there were a few people who wanted application, who wanted quickly what I want to create, what I can create, and then I can show to the people or probably show my resume or find a job. But getting a basics and the fundamentals or the way to approach a technology, for example, blockchain, right? Through these lecturers who have been in the industry for 30, 40 years. And it's a massive opportunity to me. That's one of the reasons I signed up for Pixeltest, though there were other things happening. And in fact, a couple of other open source things I wanted to pick it up, right? So the deal breaker for me was this being with this the legacy and the pedigree of the professors, which I got to interact, honestly, personally.
Wow, brilliant, brilliant. That's a very first principles way of thinking. Even I'm seeing a lot of people. So in the industry right now, there's definitely, my observations are similar on the other side. Like I see people, many are short-term thinking, myopic, as opposed to long-term thinking. Short-term thinking is like, okay, let me just learn Web3, let me learn Rust, pick up some Solidity, and then quickly put like 2 chunks of code on my GitHub and 2 chunks on my resume and LinkedIn, and then start like trying to apply jobs and get 50%, 100% hike. That is okay. I mean, I'm not against that, but that's very short term because your fundamentals are not strong. I've seen very few people have all 3 elements, which is what I call the full stack blockchain scientist, which is the proper blockchain core fundamentals, then the Solidity, Rust, or whatever whatever could be your platform of your choice, those fundamentals, and then programmability basically, and then third one is also the front end, like React, or maybe some JavaScript, at least being able to code some skill. I think the trifecta is very, very rare. And the people who last the longest are the ones who know all 3, which is being, sort of now covered in the course. Excellent, cool. Now, just wanted to talk about, also wanted to learn your perspective on, so now that you know blockchain, seems like your goal card was also figured out, blockchain architect, etc. What is next for you? I know you did mention maybe you're exploring PhD, but what are some of the things you're going to do next, post-winter, like maybe in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years? Where do you see yourself? Do you want to do your own startup or using these fundamentals? Do you want to pursue maybe one problem, just making it up, maybe some gas optimization or something?
Definitely.
Or you just are going with the flow, looking at some more opportunities? What is Pawan going to do with this new Ferrari under the belt?
Yeah, so okay, I'm sure. No, right now I'm exploring, as we discussed, I'm exploring a couple of PhD opportunities. Right now I'm in the process of writing a white paper with my professor from University of Wolverhampton on cybersecurity. I'm going to completely honest. These skills, the blockchain skills, will be used somewhere in my paper or in some of my. If things turns out good, and if I end up signing up for a PhD with my professor there. So things will definitely going to have beneficial, because whatever I learned here, no doubt it's going to be beneficial. But as of now, since the market is little shaky, I'm not trying to switch into blockchain. I'm sticking to what I'm good at, what I've been doing for the last 12 years in the industry. I'm just sticking there for in the job perspective. But yeah, I'm all ears open for what's happening blockchain in the tech community, in the research community, all of that. But just that I've prioritized cybersecurity as one thing. We'll definitely sure. I'm sure blockchain will some or other way intersect at some point of time. Actually, it's been 1 year since I moved to engineering management. I'm exploring a couple of these nuances about the people management, the leadership aspects as well. That's something I've been for the last 6 to 8 months. I'm occupied. But yeah, so definitely I'll not leave anything. This technologies like blockchain or cybersecurity, anything out of
Brilliant.
mind.
Yeah, brilliant. So one of the things, even my thesis is also very similar. I mean, first off, it's kudos to you that you're thinking of learning more, researching more, and the further studies option is extremely commendable, admirable. However, I am not a big I lost. I wouldn't say hope, lost interest in doing a PhD after master's because I realized academic is not something I want to go to.
Right.
One thing is I did want to post this testimonial, etc. There's one opportunity I had looked at, and we can discuss that about one L1 chain, and then we can talk about that because it seems like there's a fit. However, I want to circle back to last question for this testimonial. Once again, congratulations on finishing the certification. What is your advice to people who are watching this on YouTube, etc., and who've already maybe dropped the 3 summary points? Who's on the fence, who's trying to upskill into blockchain? Cycles are common. The cycle came for internet, cycle came for
Definitely.
whatever.
Yeah.
But who is like you, like somebody who has the raw skills, who's talented, who knows engineering, who's had maybe the fortune of working with some really amazing leaders, but who are on the fence. Should I upskill or not? Should I not? Should I do it or not? What is your 1 or 2 lines of advice for them?
Yeah, I think people should explore different things in life. Blockchain is one of this a hot thing, but one of the problem with blockchain is uncertainty. That's when there is a lot of stake, there's always uncertainty, right? So easiest way to do it or see if it works for you or do you like it is to try it, right? So try it, but evaluate what are the opportunities you're trying to apply for. I don't know if it's a research or if it's a job or all of that. So you're the right person. You think through your aspirations, right? Whether you do the coding part, you like the coding part, and where you come from. Because in my course, I've seen people come from sales background and they were trying to code with us, right? So you have to figure out what is that you want to do with any new technology, right? If you are from engineering background, you've done engineering in computer science, and it's easy for you. You can become a blockchain developer or blockchain architect and all of that, right? And even that, do you want to leave your current domain, which is where you have expertise, right? So, or maybe you have an option to move internally in your current company, take a side hustle. A lot of things are possible. But yeah, from somebody non-computer science, non-engineering background, you'll have to take a informed call, a researched call on what you want to do after this course, or you're serious about blockchain or not, or you're just not trying to explore, or just because everybody is doing, you're doing. You should not be in that state, right? You should really sure on where you want to see it, right? Even if you are sure that I want to explore, I want to do anything, that's okay. And if you are sure that, okay, I just want to explore, I will not do anything after that, that is also okay. But that level of commitment and that level of clarity is important at this stage. Otherwise, you may end up with the disappointments if something, right? For example, you may come to the course with the expectation that you will get a high paid job, but that may not be the case, because today a lot of companies who are doing Web3 or blockchain are startups. They can't afford to pay the big tech jobs, right? So that's why you need to be very clear on what you want to do, and no disappointments later, no regrets, no resentment.
Wow, terrific clarity on the approach. Basically setting expectations. That's very, very well articulated and very crystal clear in terms of how we should start thinking before you jump onto the course. Okay, great. Thank you so much, Pawan. It's fantastic speaking to you in terms of your background. Once again, we are grateful that we had an opportunity to mentor you. And hopefully, we can come on site. That on site thing is still growing. And for those of you who are watching this, please, subscribe, like, and more importantly, please list down the top 3 summary items below itself so that you understand, you watched it, you've consumed the content, but you've also summarized to your points, the key points from Pawan's experience, from his journey, pre the course and post the course. Once again, thanks.
One last thing, if I may add, I write a lot about ESOPs, startups, RSUs, IPO. tech things and some people management things in my LinkedIn. Feel free to look at it and probably pass on the feedback if you're watching.
Yeah, sure. And if you get a chance, please hit him up on LinkedIn. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks.